we now move on to our next speaker. I'm delighted to welcome Lucile Sever from the European Biogas Association. Lucile has travelled from Brussels to be with us today, so we acknowledge her efforts in doing that. Lucile will present on biogas systems as circular bioeconomy hubs, policy challenges, and also provide us with an update on the latest developments around RENURE, which is a big issue or area for our industry on the biomethane side. Lucile is a senior policy advisor in charge of following the circular economy area within the EBA, is dealing with legislation relating to agriculture, the environment, and coordinates the EPA working group on circular economy. Joined the EBA in January 2023 and worked for the French Research Institute for Agriculture, Food and Environment prior to that for 3 years, implementing the advocacy strategy of the Institute and assisting researchers in the emergence of new EU projects. Previously, Lucile worked as a public and legal affairs officer in the wine and spirits sector. So we're delighted again to say that Lucile has joined us today, and we look forward to your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean, for the invitation, and good afternoon, everyone. So today I have a lot to tell you, only in 15 minutes, so I will discuss first, I will give you some data about the current biogases market and also the future of the market. I will also explain, give you some insights on policy recommendation to unlock biogases system as circular economy hubs, and I will talk a bit about RENURE at the end. I hope you enjoy it, and also if I have a very strong French accent, so sorry about that also. I hope it's okay for you. So first, just a few words about the European Biogas Association. So we are based in Brussels. We represent around 8,000 stakeholders from the whole biogases value chain. The main goal of the association is to scale up the production and use of biogases in Europe. And we have in our memberships more than 350 members, including 51 national associations such as RBA, and also 285 companies, research institutes, think tanks, etc. So this is some data that we have from our latest statistical report that was published in December 2024. By the way, we will release our new statistical report in next December, so you will have also some new updated numbers for this. But basically, in 2023, we were producing 22.1 billion cubic meters of biogases, including 17.1 BCM of biogas and 4.9 BCM of biomethane. And so 22 BCM, it represents more or less the gas consumption of Belgium, Denmark, and Ireland combined, and it's equivalent to around 7% of the EU gas consumption in 2023. Between 2019 and 2023, the biomethane production more than doubled. So the growth is really located into biomethane facilities. But really to unlock all the full potential of biogases, we really believe that they should be seen as circular bio-based integrated solutions. And so this is really where we are trying to advocate with the Commission on this. You already know that, but biogas systems are fully bio-based. They rely on sustainable biomass feedstocks, so sewage sludge, bio-waste, agricultural feedstocks, sequential crops as well. And their circularity is threefold. So first, of course, they convert biomass into renewable bioenergy that can be used across key sectors, so households, agriculture, industry, transport, and each of which generates biomass that can be fed back to generate new biogases. But what is even more interesting is also that we have additional co-products that also contribute to closing resource loops. So we have the digestate that acts as a nutrient-rich organic fertilizers that supports, again, new biomass growth. And we have the biogenic carbon that can be captured and utilized in a range of industrial applications, such as beverages, greenhouses, e-fuels, all this. So with the additional co-products, we have systems that have really exponential benefits. They contribute to climate mitigation, to build the EU strategic autonomy in renewable energy, in organic fertilizer and biogenic carbon, and they also contribute to industrial and agricultural competitiveness in the EU. So how do we really achieve this vision? So for us, it's really important to unlock 4 pathways that should be taken into account in the upcoming EU bioeconomy strategy and in the upcoming as well Circular Economy Act. So these 4 key pathways, they are really simple. The first one is to steer the supply of sustainable feedstocks towards biogas system, then to facilitate the deployment of biogases across Europe, to support the adoption of digestate as a circular organic fertilizer, and to recognize biogenic carbon as a strategic carbon capture technology and removal solution. So we have policy recommendation, many of them for each of these pathways. Of course, I will not go into details today of all this because it's too much, but you can check our position paper when you will get the slides. And today I will really focus on the role, the adoption of digestate as a circular organic fertilizers. So for this, we have 3 big policy recommendations. The first one is related to the eco-design for sustainable products regulation. So the eco-design is this regulation that is trying to enhance sustainability of products through information and performance requirements. So basically, if you were to put fertilizers in this regulation, you would be able to mandate recycled content in fertilizers. And today we see that there is this big challenge that the largest conventional fertilizers producers are not transitioning towards producing organic-based fertilizers or incorporating digestate into their products. They are more focused on trying to source renewable energy to continue their business as usual. And at the same time, we have also regions where there are excesses of nutrients, as you know. So we really think that a strong regulatory incentive would be to establish a minimum percentage of fertilizers containing blended recycled nutrients or bio-based fertilizers, such as ammonium salts or struvites or mineral concentrate, to be sold or used at EU level. So very concretely, it means to have, for instance, by 2030, we need to have 20% of digestate or compost within fertilizers sold at EU level. But of course, that would be a strong incentive, but it also needs to be properly studied because the impact on, for instance, farmers and food security must be really studied to make sure that there is no issue regarding this. And so that's why we have been asking DG Grow at the Commission to include fertilizers in their study on bio-based and other non-fossil content requirements for products so that maybe eventually they are able to take this regulatory incentive in the eco-design at a later stage. Then I wanted to tell you a few things about the EU Fertilizing Products Regulation, the FPR. I suppose you are already familiar maybe with this piece of legislation. Basically, if you want to certify your digestate products, for instance, to sell it on the EU market, you need first to choose a product function category for your product. So it would be, is it a soil improver, is it a fertilizer, a biostimulant? And depending on this, you will need to comply with certain requirements. And then, depending on the component really of your product, you will have additional requirements depending on the component material categories to fulfill. So here, for instance, you can have a product that is composed of, for instance, compost and fresh crop digestate, for instance. And we will see that there are a lot of barriers in the FPR as it is currently drafted. So for instance, if you want to try to certify your digestate under PFC 1A1 or 2, so solid or liquid organic fertilizers, at the moment, basically, it's impossible to achieve the nutrient requirements that are in the FPR, both in terms of nitrogen but also phosphorus. You have also challenging organic carbon threshold. You have contaminants such as chromium-6 that are not routinely tested, so it can be very costly. So usually you cannot certify it today under this PFC, so you can try to do it under PFC 3A, which is organic soil improver. Here you don't have nutrient requirements, so generally it's feasible even if you still have the issue of the contaminants. But then you have two types of component material categories, and we see that there are still also a lot of issues because, for instance, you have CMC4 for fresh crop digestate, so digestate from plant or plant parts specifically grown for biogas. But that excludes, for instance, crop residues or plant-based materials from the agri-food industry. So you cannot use these feedstock or your digestate cannot be certified under this CMC if you use this feedstock. Then you have a restrictive list of only 5 AD processes that are generally not aligned with the general practice. And you have a stability criteria that is also very difficult to measure, basically. So then you have CMC5, digestate other than fresh crop digestate. So this one is for animal byproducts and bio-waste. But it still excludes industrial solid waste, sewage sludge, also sludges from food, feed, and beverage processing. And additionally, for animal byproducts, it mandates a mandatory pasteurization, and it does not recognize the alternative time temperature processes that are maybe allowed at national level. And finally, you have also additional costly analysis for organic pollutants. So this is very technical and a bit long, I'm sorry for this, but it's just to show that basically it's not working. It's a big administrative burden for producer, and so we are really hoping that this is going to change. And normally at the moment the FPR is actually being evaluated, so we are really strongly advocating for simplification and also for requirements that are more that are reachable, basically. So you can see more information in the feedback. You will also receive the link through the slides. And finally, the nitrates directive. So I think you are all familiar with the big issue of having this limit of 170 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare per year for manure-based digestate in nitrate vulnerable zones. So that means that farmers that have digestate can use it until 170, and then they have to buy synthetic fertilizers to reach crop requirement. So it's really a big issue. And from a policy perspective at the moment, there are two pathways. So on the long term, the nitrates directive is being evaluated at the moment. So this could go towards a revision, but that would be a lengthy procedure, so it could take 3 more years. And on the short term, there was recently, 2 weeks ago, the adoption of the Commission proposal on RENURE. So for the evaluation, very quickly, the evaluation report is expected by end of 2025 by the Commission. It could be towards going towards a potential revision. Actually, this might not be the best outcome, because we know that also at EU level there are many stakeholders that are even asking for an even lower limit on nitrogen. Many NGOs are supporting this, for instance. So maybe not necessarily what we want to go towards. But what we have been saying as key messages for the past few years is that, of course, and we really need to educate on this because at the Commission level, they are still sometimes not convinced that digestate has really a lower risk of nitrate leaching than raw manure because of its nutrient use efficiency, and that it has an equal or a lower risk of nitrate leaching even compared to synthetic fertilizers when you apply best application practices such as nutrient management with precision agriculture tools, for instance, or having cover crops or acidifying the digestate. All this, so we are really trying to explain this. And then we want really to break away from the fixed input limit towards the more effective methods to address nitrate leaching, while at the same time enabling this substitution of synthetic fertilizers with digestate. And there, basically, there are many, for instance, European projects working on the topic of nutrient management in general. We see that there are methods such as having an indicator on nutrient surplus, or having something on the nutrient surplus after harvest where you mitigate maybe with cover crops or this type of approach. But yeah, the Commission is not really taking stock of all this research that is available, so we are really pushing toward this. So in the meantime, on the short-term perspective, the Commission has just published on the 19th of September this Commission proposal on RENURE that is now currently under a 3-month scrutiny by the European Parliament and Council. So that means that basically it could be adopted in 4 to 5 months. And in this proposal, they are allowing RENURE fertilizers to be allowing to be used above 170 kilograms of nitrogen. So RENURE fertilizers could be certain derived product from digestate. The issue is that it's only 3 product types that have been included in this Commission proposal. So only ammonium salts, mineral concentrate, and struvite. And the liquid fraction of digestate, for instance, that was initially proposed when the whole concept of RENURE was invented by the Joint Research Center of the Commission, it was not kept in this Commission proposal. And then you have additional requirements to use the RENURE fertilizers, so you need to have a consistent quality enforced by strict quality standards imposed by a member state. So they need to verify this quality and the ratio of nitrogen to total nitrogen and total organic carbon to total nitrogen. You have a mandatory documentation also regarding the content in nitrogen and phosphorus in certain cases. You have an additional cap of 80 kilograms of nitrogen, so that means that in total you can only go until 250 kilograms. Contaminants also and pathogen limits, and yeah, all this should not lead to an increase of livestock in the areas with nutrient excesses. And finally, also reinforced application and storage rules for these RENURE fertilizers. So as you can imagine, it's a bit mixed feeling, because finally it's opening the door to recognize that digestate from manure is not just raw manure, and it's the first time in 30 years that the Nitrates Directive is being amended, so it's already something, but the proposal as it is quite restrictive. Yeah, and I think that's all, so thanks a lot, and I look forward.
Thanks very much, Lucile, for your presentation, and certainly there are many aspects associated with your work which are very important from the point of view of the Irish sector. And I know that we would have first spoken maybe 3 to 4 years ago about the 170 limit and the importance of getting the RENURE over the line, particularly for Ireland as a grass-based, livestock-based production system. And it's good to see it moving in the right direction, even though it doesn't recognise separated digestate as a product from the RENURE piece. So that's something to keep us busy to work on further, but it is a positive development, particularly for Ireland. We are a proud member in the Irish Bioenergy Association of the European Biogas Association, and we wish you the best of luck with your conference next week. And Noel will represent Erbia at the conference, and indeed members. So thank you for coming and thank you for your presentation.